like die. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear us? Oh, he's connected.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. How are you? Sorry, I'm just turning up the volume. Don't mind me. How are you
All right.
doing?
How is the
Doing
audio?
great. You guys doing great?
Yeah.
We're chilling.
Yeah, we're chilling. We're balling. Everyone here says good morning.
Good.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Okay, sorry. People are coming in and stuff. Um, well, welcome. Thank you. Here, let me thank you so much for coming to talk to us. I know that is it like super early in the morning for you?
It's not that early. It's like 8 a.m. It's usually
Okay.
around my work time.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. We're so excited to have you. Um, I'm Anna. This is Elaine. I think you know Elaine.
We go way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello.
And then this is Digipaint. Hi.
Yeah, if you can.
Hi. I feel like I know that you're a UMich alum, but I feel like I remember you coming to meetings back in like 2021 or 2022. Is that correct?
It's
Or did
probably
I?
around like years ago, 2022, maybe 2021. I did Japan exist back in 2021?
It started in November 2021. So it was like,
November 2021. Okay, I was there at the very first meeting of Digipaint, so it's probably around then.
A
Yeah.
historical
yo, we got a historical figure, guys. Our first DigiPaint alum too. Well, we prepared some slides if we want to jump right into those. I can share my screen. Um, Hopefully they're good. They're gonna slay because it's just all your art. So,
It's gonna be embarrassing.
oh no, don't worry, don't worry. I'm sure everyone in here will be in awe and super amazed. So, um,
Thank you. It's really flattering.
yeah. I don't know if you wanted to introduce yourself at all, or we can introduce you. Um, but yeah.
Uh, I'll start with a quick introduction then.
Yeah.
I'm back. Usually people just call me back. Get it? Also, my online alias is Zeklewa.
Mhm.
I used to be a computer science undergrad at UMich from around 2018 to 2022. After 2022, I graduated from UMich. I eventually did robotics, a master's in robotics, also at UMich. But then I decided that I wanted to pursue art more professionally. So I kind of just dropped out. And then during the kind of like the half a year after I dropped out during the first semester of my master's degree, I came back and I opened up a like an art studio. And now I'm just like doing that full time.
Whoa.
awesome. And then by came back, what do you mean by that?
Came back as in came
Like
back to Vietnam.
you.
Was
Okay, so you're calling us from Vietnam right now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa. That explains
The
the,
quality is pretty good actually.
yeah.
I have a quick question. How'd you come up with Zeklewa as your like online handle?
I have no idea actually. It was just a jumble of words that one night decided it was just gonna be my nickname.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. Well, it's very nice. It's super cool to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. Um, I guess kind of you talked a little bit about like being at UMich a little bit, but I guess like I don't know if you wanted to go in more into like what your journey's been like going back to the beginning and like when did you first start drawing and like did you run into any roadblocks and challenges like throughout your time of becoming a full-time artist?
hmm Um, well, for sure, there for every single artist, I say there's 100% certainty that there will be roadblocks, especially when you're starting out. I started out personally during 2020 during COVID. So it was like COVID 2019. It was around May or something. it was during the first semester of my sophomore year that COVID broke out. And then I was playing a lot of video games back then. I literally just was just playing video games full time, right? School wasn't even a thing because it was COVID, and I was completing all my assignments in a single day of the week, and then the rest of the week was just like playing video games. And then that happened for a bit. It was around like half a year, and then it was like, this is way too draining for me. I was super depressed because there was nothing else to do. So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna start a new hobby. So I just got into drawing back then. Um, yeah, and I wish I could share some of my 2020 art with you. Unfortunately, I don't have it here, and it's super embarrassing for me to share it as well. I think it looks hideous, so I'd rather not. But I was starting out, and it was really tough. All of the people that I know were into drawing back then started when they were literally like a child, right? They
Oh my God.
started at 6, at 7, uh, even like like the ones who were considered started late started drawing when they were in high school, 15, 18, that kind of stuff. And I was like 20, 21. And I started drawing, and it was like super demotivating because people were so much better than me. And like drawing, it's just something is like it's a very personal thing, right? You will always compare yourself with others and kind of like reflect on yourself in literally like every single drawing. It's like there could be things that I could have done better. It's for me, it's my most of my challenges were when I started out drawing, especially, and they were mental ones. It was like I will never be good enough, or there is no hope for me ever becoming good at drawing if I start out late, or if it's like if it's even worth my time at all. There were kind of like periods where I would have like a panic episode. Uh, literally, like I would get so scared of drawing I wouldn't even touch the pen in like half a year because it was too much stress. It was like it was always me trying to compare myself with others. I mean, that's obviously not a good thing, but it's a very obsessive thing, right? And for me, it's also like those kind of like mental problems I had were something that also helped me stay on the track and just like okay, how do I control these emotions? How do I control my my mental to keep pursuing this kind of hobby and keep trying to improve myself? Um, so yeah, that was when I started out. I would say like the majority of my mental problems were, they were from back then. And
Yeah.
once I got past that, it was a lot easier for me to think, okay, it's not a race, first of all, and second thing, eventually everyone will get there if they're determined enough, which I think was very true and very evident the later, as time goes on, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, that was an amazing answer.
That
Thank
is
you so
beautiful.
much. That was, yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. Did you want to take like the next question?
Sure. So, could you tell us a little bit how, after you dropped out, what path you went on to kind of enter the industry, like where you've worked, what kind of work you do today, and just whatever else you want to share about your day to day?
so when I dropped out, I was just doing commissions full time, and it was for gacha game companies. Basically, they would just I had like a representative at NetEase for the most part that dealt with all the commissions that I was drawing for a lot of the major companies. So basically, they're the middleman, and I was drawing for this person, and that person was just basically selling the product, which is my drawings, to the game companies, right? I mean, that's okay. That's besides the point. It's too technical. But my day-to-day workflow, um, I mean, this question is a little hard because I don't know if it's asking about like what my day is like after I dropped out or if my workflow is right. Like, so I would just
Either
like answer.
or, both is
Yeah.
good. Neither is good. Whatever you want.
Yeah, so my day went about something like I would wake up maybe around 9 or 10 a.m. I slept in really late. I'd sleep at around like 1 a.m. I was playing video games late with my friends, but even back then I was not playing video games a lot, not as much as I am currently, and I used to back then. Because when I started out drawing professionally, there was always a fear of just losing my work because I dropped out for it. And if I didn't succeed in that, then there's no point because
Yeah.
I would just like not be able to do anything, right? Uh, but I would occasionally I would still play video games, but it was only about like an hour per day max, and literally like 10 hours a day I would just draw from whenever I wake up, which is around like 10 a.m. I ordered DoorDash, and then 11 a.m. I started drawing. I would probably stop around 9 p.m., do whatever 9 to 10 p.m., and then just go for a late night walk as an exercise, and then um, come back, go to sleep, repeat. That was basically it. That was and to be honest, I found that kind of life very enjoyable for whatever reason compared to now. I think that was the time when my quality of life was the greatest. And it was partly because one, I was super passionate about drawing itself. It was one I started drawing professionally that I found the greatest motivation to draw.
Mhm.
For one, I wanted to just not starve, and two, it's kind of like a testament, right, to as to I can do this, right? And it was reassuring that people were paying me for the work that I do. It was reassuring that even if worst case scenario, I drop out, I go back to Vietnam, it's no big deal, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then the second thing is about my workflow, I guess. And I'm not sure, like, to be honest, I don't know how to answer this question because like my workflow has always been submit the draft to this person. If they're okay with it, greenlight it. It's just start drawing, start rendering stuff, and then once it's done, submit it again for feedbacks. If they think there's anything else they want to fix, then they will highlight it. I'll fix it, and then it's probably it. It's more or less just dealing with all the feedbacks. I'm not sure like what my workflow quote unquote you know, to be honest, I don't, everyone has a different workflow, right? And it really doesn't matter how you draw. It's just a matter of if you are, willing to put up with all these like feedbacks. Because when you're drawing professionally, it's the back and forth communication is a little bit tiring. People will shit on you, and it's a part of the job. So.
Hmm. Yeah. How do you kind of cope with like getting the feedback and like having to go back and like redo stuff? Like, do you find that eventually you just get used to it, or do you like you have to do stuff to like re-encourage yourself to work on things
Coping
or coping
mechanisms.
mechanisms, anything like that?
No, for sure, 100%. It's what it was for me. It was always the fear of just losing the work that I was doing.
Hmm.
And so if my client tells me, "Hey, this drawing is shit, you should fix it up," and then I would say, "Yeah, it's shit. I can fix it up," and I would just do it.
Yeah, that's good.
Sometimes it's very tiring though.
Yeah.
There was a couple projects I worked on. It was literally just a month of fixing stuff, like the tiniest things. Like they would tell me to fix like a bottle on the ground or like a cable or like all these little things that eventually did not matter at all, to be
Yeah.
honest. But it was mainly that I was willing to keep my clients happy
Hmm.
to whatever extent. And I think they're if if you express that professionally in work, then I mean people are chill with you, so that's good.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, earlier you mentioned like your quality of life basically. And I was just
Mhm.
curious, like what changes have occurred since, dropping out years ago and then moving to Vietnam? Like what choices you made, why you made those, and how that's affected your like current life.
So are you asking about my quality of life now or 2 years ago when I dropped out?
I guess also kind of a lot of questions, but kind of like comparing that specifically on your just like on how you work now and how that affects
Mhm.
like your what am I trying to say here?
Like, I guess like now, how is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how is your work or what what has changed now that you're an art director now, right? So like what has kind
Mhm.
of changed? What is your day like now, or like what all are you doing every day and stuff like that?
Right. Actually, a lot has changed, and my life is a lot different now than when it was 2 years ago. I started my studio around like a year ago, or a little bit more. It was around maybe September of 2024. Oh, no, not 2024, 2023. Um, and okay, so back then when I started out, it was with like three people. Uh, they were also really good at drawing. They wanted to find a stable line of work. They were just also doing just personal commissions, and there was an opportunity. We are still working uh, with this single client back from 2023, and now we're still doing work for them. Um, they're a card game company, and we were basically just doing card illustrations for them. Every month back then, we would do like 10 illustrations, sometimes like eight, sometimes 10. And we were a team of like three, four people. What we did was basically because I was the art director, I wasn't involved in uh drawing out the card itself. I was more like I'm like the quality assurance guy. I fix people's stuff up. If they're not good, I tell them where they could improve on, and then just tell them to fix it. And if like worst come to worst, if they can't fix it, then I have to go in and fix it myself. um for the past like year, we've just been doing that and then growing the team. And then my work shifted completely from drawing commissions to basically doing this art director stuff, where it's both like managing people and fixing up people's stuff. Uh, so, for example, I when I was doing personal commissions, I would draw every single day. Now it's not the case. Now it's like I have to talk to my clients, I have to talk to my employees for the majority of my time, especially during the month. And then at the end of the month, or at the end of every other month, we would have a delivery period where we'd spend like 1 to 2 weeks just going over all of the art that we did, fixing them up, and then preparing the final files to for delivery, right? And uh it's a lot less work to be managing people and fixing stuff instead of drawing yourself, but also it's a lot more stress to, be the guy that assures that the quality is fine for like 100 pieces.
Oh my God.
Versus back then when I was drawing for myself, it was maybe one or two pieces every month, and that was it, right? I just needed that those two pieces to be good. Now I have to make sure that we have 100 pieces in 2 months, and that is the number we're currently at right now. We have a team of 25-ish, and they're doing two per month. Everyone is doing two per month. So we're doing 50 per month, 100 per 2 months, which is the delivery period. Um, and then at the end of basically every other month, we would have like 1 to 2 weeks, and I would just not sleep and fix like 100 pieces. I
Oh,
used to do 100 pieces, but now I got another person who's like also like a really popular artist in Vietnam. She has like what, like a couple 100,000 followers on Twitter or something. She was basically like a very long time like known artist in the anime space. And coincidentally, she was also looking for stable work. So I was like, hey, this work of like I have this kind of work. I have to fix people stuff, and there's like 50 of them every single month. Are you willing to do it with me? And she's like, yeah, sure. So now it's a lot less work, but also
Yeah.
it's more stress because now I'm delegating all of my responsibilities and just overseeing people. It's more like a management thing. It's a lot more stress because if I fuck up, 20 people lose their jobs and the ship is gonna sink, right?
Yeah.
But
How?
versus back then, it's a lot safer, I'd say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I would like to know more about like your thought process when you were starting the studio because it's like
Mhm.
very entrepreneurial. Like how do you pitch this to like the company you were working with? What did you say to the other artists? I mean like how did you get to that point?
Uh, So, okay, when I was talking to my client about like me having a studio, it's a very normal thing, especially in the anime industry space to, or at least like in the art space in general, to say that you have a studio because I don't think it's that hard to just open up a studio. It's just gather a bunch of random artists and not random artists, artists you can trust and basically just do the same kind of work that you have been doing and making sure that those people are responsible people and it's more or less a group project, right? So when I pitched it to the company that is currently my client right now, they're very chill. They're like, okay, sure, we'll do three pieces first and see if the style matches, if the quality is good, then we'll proceed. We did three pieces, and they're like, okay, that's this is fine. There are a lot of problems, but we can sort this out. Um, so after that, I mean, we were a very small team back then, and to be honest, if we didn't scale up the company, right, we would have the same kind of like three to four people doing this kind of work, and it was more or less a very stable job for us if we were only providing, I'd say like max like 10 pieces per month. That is a very sustainable thing. We will still work on it as if we were four independent illustrators. Um, but eventually, I think the more efficient way to go about it would just be to have the one person or two people just kind of like do all the fixing stuff. One or two people do all the 3D mock-up uh, or like drafting of all these pieces, and then we have people that are really good at coloring characters or rendering fabric, that kind of stuff. And those people do that very specific work, and eventually it becomes like a machine, right? You have different parts in it. You have people who are responsible for different parts of the process. It becomes a pipeline. At which point it becomes a lot easier. But still, drawing is it's a very unique thing where each person has a different style. So you will also need to find a way to kind of like unify that, right? And make sure that everyone follows this pipeline properly, which is a very hard thing to do. Um, and then when I was out recruiting people, it was also more or less I would just like post on social media, hey, I have a project that pays this much monthly. We are looking for artists that are interested in drawing anime style that can render characters and environment, are willing to learn. We will um, try to train those people as well. A lot of the people that I work with, especially like my employees, or I would say uh, they're not great artists uh, because there are gaps in their knowledge that I have to fill in with by different people. but that's what makes it great because it's a group project, right?
Yeah.
If someone is good at environments, then they can do like the environments for like 4 or 5 other people. That's perfectly fine. If one person is really bad at drawing characters, which is, I mean, not uncommon, then I would have like 1 or 2 people fix up that character, which is a very easier thing to do than drawing the environments, because I think the environments is the hardest part, especially if you're an artist. Uh, Knowing how to draw the environment is like 10 times harder than knowing how to draw the artist, because we like drawing we like drawing the characters, right? So we spend a lot of time, we spend 10 times more time drawing the characters, so that's why we're so good at it, versus drawing environments and drawing every single tree, every single branch, every single building. That's boring, right? So people prefer not to do it. But occasionally you have 1 or 2 people out of like 10 that can do that really well and they enjoy doing it. And so if I get that person, then it becomes part of the system. And then everyone can draw, suddenly everyone can draw both characters and environments because that person is filling in for us, right? And so eventually what I figured out was that, if we have this like, if we can maintain this kind of like proportionality between like artists that can do X versus artists that can do Y, then it becomes eventually like so much easier to make sure that every single artist is doing 2 pieces every month. Because otherwise, if one person gets stuck on drawing a character or one person gets stuck on drawing the background, then they're gonna get really frustrated, and work becomes like infinitely harder for them, right? Because they can't do it. So we need a solution for that. That's how I like to think about it.
Yeah. Well,
Cool. It's very like best of all worlds.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. That was super insightful to see into like all of the process and all the things you're thinking about. I don't know. Did you have any other questions in this realm?
I'll try to add
Yeah.
them in at the end.
Yeah. We'll keep on going, but thank you. That was like so big brain.
Yeah.
I guess kind of like this is just one of my favorite questions. I just love to ask this one, but like, do you
Mhm.
have like a favorite piece you've made either for a personal project or for one of your roles? And like, what was your favorite part about it?
Um, to me personally, my favorite piece, and it's not even close, it's gonna be my first commercial project, which is like, which is both like insane that I even took that work in the first place, and what's special about it is how well it turned out, even though I was like super skeptical if it even would come out good in the first place. So I can share that with you right now.
Oh yeah.
It's my very first commercial project that I did back in 2022-ish.
Yeah. I'll stop sharing so you
Uh,
can share.
Hold on, I have to find it.
Missions.
You should. Yeah.
Is it okay if I just drop it in the chat?
Oh
It
yeah, of
takes a
course. Whoa. Okay. I will share my screen again. Hold on one moment. And then let me just, where'd it go? Chat.
Oh my
Chat.
God, this is so substitute teacher course.
I know, this is so substitute teacher core, guys. I'm not. Whoa!
Oh my God.
God.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Okay, he ate the.
Oh, I'm logged out. Let me zoom in. Let me zoom in. Wow. This is awesome. Yeah.
You wanna
Thank
talk?
you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this one was very special for me because it was a project that was at the time like completely out of my abilities, to be honest. Because I didn't do like very complex backgrounds before this, but this piece has very specific requirements. It needed to be in a room with like a very Chinese setting, like a very traditional Chinese setting, with all of these like tables and chairs and chess pieces and teapots and the atmosphere has to be exactly this, which was also something that I've never done before. Um, but there was it was just insane because like I didn't think I would be able to do this. Um, but yeah, I mean I did it. So
Yeah,
it was just like very reassuring that I'm fit for this kind of work.
yeah,
When I look at this, and sometimes I still do come back and look at this, there are a lot of things that I could have improved. But back then, like compared to the usual work that I did, it was like way above the rest in terms of complexity and quality.
yeah.
So I'm still very proud of this. Not because it's exceptionally good. I don't think it is, but it was kind of like a test for me at the time. And it was more like I passed that test. I passed something that certifies that I am fit for this kind of work.
I think it's amazing. I think you did
Yeah.
an amazing job. Like, wow. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah, thank you so much. Uh, let me go back to these slides. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I also like I was asked this question, but do you have any current projects that you're like working on and that you're allowed to talk about and anything you want to share or promote as well? Are you
So right now, we're doing stuff from Gun Archive, which is the card game that I've been talking about.
Hmm.
I mean, and that is like it's whatever, to be honest. There's not much because it's more or less just labor in terms of like the art. It's very repetitive. It's not the highest quality. It has to have a certain like cleanness to it, like in terms of like it looks like a finished product, but artistically, I think it's a very low complexity project, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not like 100% like proud of it. I'm proud of the people that I've trained and the people that I work with, and just making the group. But the project itself is very uninteresting, to say the least. Um, and then the thing that I'm actually excited is that the later half of 2025, which is in about like 5 months, I'm actually going to try to make a demo for a video game. And that is the direction that I am trying to go for right now, is that I am moving on past just being the art director for the studio and actually try to employ developers and game designers to try to make a video game, which is something that I have wanted to do for a long time. And I'll be personally putting in my time and my money and you know it's going to be exciting for me. For everyone else, I'm not sure because if it's like if you're drawing or if you're making a game for someone else, it's not as exciting as if you're just trying to cook something up yourself, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
but it's something that I have been thinking about for a long time. It's not cheap. It's of at least like 100K to a few $100,000 to just even make something that can be presented at like game conventions.
Yeah.
I hope that can work out.
Yeah.
There's no progress for that yet that I can share, but
That's
if there
cool.
is, then sure.
Yeah. We'll be
Definitely keep us updated.
yes.
We'll promote it in our Discord.
Yes, we'll promote it. We'll
Thank you.
hey, if you need any additional help, we'll probably get some artists who are really good and would wanna hop on. But I also know you probably have a
Mm.
lot of help already. But that's so cool. Oh my gosh. We'll definitely look forward to that. Um, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, it
let's see.
reminds me of which Rachel was one of the people that founded Digipaint. So one of
Yes.
the original founders, right?
Hmm.
And she eventually graduated and started working for my friend Andrew. And actually, we're doing a project together now. It's one of the card games that it's a card game, I would say. I'm not allowed to talk about it in terms of like how it looks and how
Yeah.
it plays out. But we're doing something together as
Oh,
part of, this joint like effort.
that's so exciting.
That's the Michigan difference.
The hashtag Michigan difference. Oh, that's so cool. We'll look forward to that one too. Um, Speaking of networking, would you like to ask?
Yes, we touched on this a little earlier, but
Yeah.
as someone who graduated with a CS degree and, kind of dove headfirst into the art industry, how did you start networking? How do you go from like drawing for fun to getting that first commercial piece done? And what is your approach to networking in general?
To be honest, the first commission I ever had, that was completely 100% all luck. It was all luck, no skill. It was actually there was a little bit of skill in it, as in like I posted drawings that people think were cool online. It gained some traction, or at least like people were reposting it, people were liking it. And
Hmm.
then that was also where game companies were scouting for potential artist, because back then artists were hard to come by, and if you have like one or two good artists, then we would just like uh be drawn for the same companies. The same companies were recruiting the same like pool of people that satisfy the requirements for art, and if they you do satisfy that kind of like barrier to entry, then you become a repeat customer for them, right? Luckily, I was one of those that were contacted for commercial work. The thing about the anime industry space is that you can't just go around asking companies, "Hey, I'm really good at drawing. Can I draw for you?" I don't think it works like that. You have to be like kind of like naturally picked up by like one of the scouts, and then if they offer you work and then you do very good for the very first time you work with them, you have to make sure that it's good, it's smooth, and then they'll come back with more work. And then once that happens a couple times, then you become like an established artist in the space, because those companies actually share the artists with each other. And if one art goes bad, everyone knows about it, and everyone will know to avoid like this type of person, right?
Yeah.
So be very cautious about uh the work that you do, especially like professionally, and how you talk to like the people that offer you work, I guess. This is like a very general rule of thumb that always try to do your best, especially the first time you work with someone, to make a good impression, and then eventually you can fuck around, but it's not for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because and
Makes
then
sense.
networking in general, I would say I was a very outgoing person back when I was in Michigan, to be honest, and I was always trying to find a like opportunities to hang out with people who shared the same interests, whether it be art or video games or just like tech, computer science people. Um, and I think that came a very long way for me, because like most of the connections that I made during the time at Michigan, they came out to be very valuable relationships with people. For example, the work that I'm doing right now, my entire studio is working with a client, and that client, we knew him through Andrew, which is also one of the guys that so Andrew is basically Rachel's employer. And Rachel is like a co-founder for Digipaint. Andrew was also going to the MDraw meetings, the Digipaint meetings. We eventually made like an anime drawing club at Michigan. I think it kind of like it's a little bit on the lower side now, because people have not been as enthusiastic about like drawing in general in the past like year, especially after like everyone got really, really busy with life and work in general.
Yeah.
But I would say keep an eye out for just people who are the same as you in terms of like hobbies. And if you find someone interesting, try to talk to them, try to make friends with them. I was someone that I would consider myself like I wouldn't be the type of person to uh go around and like talk to people for first. But if people talk to me and we have like mutual interest, then I I would be like very friendly with them. Like I would be on very friendly terms, right? And we'd be like great friends. Um, and especially in work, before I was drawing, I was doing robotics. It was kind of the same deal. I was talking to my professor, and my professor knew a bunch of other professors. And if those ever professors ever came to my lab, I would like start talking to them and like start like sharing my thoughts, my views of, okay, like this is really cool. What you're doing is very cool. What I'm doing, like how I think about what I'm doing, how this has any like relevancy to the world, that kind of stuff. Just kind of like find ways to open up the conversation and then make just I would just say to really open up, because like the relationships, the connections you have at Michigan, and especially for me, that was a very big part of why you're in college in the first place. Because you're meeting all these people who are like very exceptional, right? Michigan is a great school. You come there not because the quality of the education is good, solely because it's good. I think it's okay, to be honest. It's not the best. Especially when I was doing CS, it was a great program, but I wouldn't say it's the best. And to be honest, most of that I would attribute to my 2.5 years just doing nothing, because there was COVID going on, so there
Oh,
was just no class interaction at all. So okay, my experience could be very different from you guys, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that even now or 10 years later, the people you meet at Michigan, and especially your friends, even people who are younger than you, um, your lab instructors, your friends, your professors, your whatever, right? Those people will make an impact on your life.
Mhm.
And you just need to find a way to kind of like figure out who you're willing to spend time with, because you have a very limited amount of time to kind of be going about doing that, right?
Yeah.
For me at Michigan, it was more I was hanging around with my lab mates and my professor and my CS professor and the anime drawing club,
Mhm.
which was Rachel, Andrew, and like a bunch of other people. They also came out. Um, I think one guy who was also like who was super into Love Live, the anime, and he eventually became like a PhD student at like Harvard or something, or he
Oh,
got
wow.
into biology, yeah, and then he chose a different school. But it was a very interesting guy. He was very different from me,
Yeah.
obviously. We had into a lot of arguments, but eventually I figured out, okay, like there was no other place on earth that I could be meeting that person at that specific time
Mhm.
that could be providing me with those kind of insights, right? And that makes it the Michigan life interesting.
like look at those life lessons we're
Hashtag,
getting.
hashtag Michigan. Yeah,
you.
no,
That was beautiful.
that was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
want to leave some time for questions though,
Yes,
so
so we're gonna,
let's get through these.
yeah, we're gonna, we don't too many left. I guess like kind of answered some of these a little bit, so I'll just like skip down, but you can answer however many of these you want. But I guess like, um, in your experience, or like with people that you know, have you found that there's any like industry standard differences or just like differences in like the way commissions work or like the way everything works between like international companies in the US? Like,
Or
have you?
even like work cultures. I feel like we've noticed some of that difference, the way that
Oh,
you
it's very different.
process.
Yeah.
100% very different. The US companies usually are a lot more laid back, but there's also like zero game companies in the States that actually do the kind of work or like offer the kind of work that the anime games companies do in like China for the
Yeah.
most part. That is why I even moved back to Vietnam because it's a very different work culture in general. In the States, it's a lot more laid back. People are free to do whatever they want. But I've talked to people that are in-house artists in China, right?
Mhm.
And they are expected to work overtime for very little pay compared to what you would usually make in the States. And if you can't take it, then there will always be people better than you that are willing to replace you. So
Yeah.
it's very high stress. It's a little bit fucked up, I'd say, but also it's the main motivator as to how like these, Chinese artists, especially Chinese artists, are just overwhelming everyone else in the
Yeah.
market, right?
Yeah.
It's the same work culture in Korea and Japan, but the people that I talk to in Korea and Japan have been a lot more laid back. China has just been uh, very demanding, and it's been tough for people. It's even for like my representative, which is the person that doesn't do any drawing. He's just like go talk to people, go talk to artists, manage those people, and making sure that the illustrations that are being commissioned are properly done. Like even those people are being overworked and they're working like 7 to 10 ish
My God.
p.m. So like sometimes I would talk to this person. They would wake up at like 6 a.m. They'd catch a bus to go to work, get to work at like 9 a.m. or something, and then work from 9 a.m. to like 7 p.m. at least,
Oh my gosh.
sometimes even to 10 p.m. and then go back. There was just no time for relationships,
Yeah.
not enough time for food and activities. And you have very limited days off. Where in the States you would legally, I think it's legally like what, like 20 days off or something.
I
In
think
China,
so.
there's more like 10, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow. That sounds very intense, but I
it
don't
is
know.
very intense.
Yeah.
But the thing is, especially in terms of like anime, uh, there's there's just no other places that would offer that kind of work. It's just
Yeah.
the Chinese game companies,
Hmm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're working, oh, actually, I know a couple people that are kind of like the old school Riot Games artists that are living in Vietnam right now because we are obviously Vietnam is small. We artists all know each other. And they have been saying that Riot Games have been continuing to pay them less and demand more work, which
Oh.
is which is
Oh,
sad
the
because
layoffs
Yeah.
too. Oh,
yeah,
Yeah. Man.
it's been tough for people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
anyway.
Anyways, moving on. I'm kidding. Thank you for that insight. That was
Mhm.
very insightful, very helpful. Um, I don't know. Did you want to ask this question? I can't remember.
Maybe something, yeah,
Yeah.
happier.
Yeah.
But in terms of your art process or like when you're giving feedback, how do you like develop a piece? How do you take it to the final step? And like what kind of ideas do you have?
Um, okay, this is a hard question because I don't even know how to answer this myself.
So fair.
It's more like I take a walk outside, and if an idea strikes me, then okay, I'll go with it.
It takes divine inspiration.
Yeah. It comes to in a vision.
Right. It's part of all the creative work, right? Even if
Yeah.
you're like composing a piece, like a music piece, or you're drawing an art piece, it's more like you passively take in knowledge and information when you're not doing anything. You're just like looking around Pixiv or Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, right? Seeing what looks good. You think about it, and if you think about it for a while, and you eventually, okay, like this is what I want to do. But most of the times when I read a brief, unless it specifically tells me what to do, I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, what about how long it would take for the full piece?
For For a complete piece, I mean, it's been a while since I did like a complete piece from start to finish, but usually it takes around 2 weeks-ish in terms of just like uh drawing it out, or making the draft, getting it approved, rendering it, and then doing all the fixes and back and forth communication. Uh, it sometimes takes longer than that if the clients are picky. If the clients are not like happy, then it can take up to like 1 or 2 months, but usually not longer than that because there's a specific time frame that you're expected to finish the work, and they have to do it for marketing purposes as well, right? Usually it's around 2 weeks. I've seen people do it a lot faster. I personally have not been drawing full pieces, at least for the past like 1.5 year.
Mhm.
I've just been doing the work that I do at my studio, but I know a couple people, especially the person that I told you about that was a very popular artist that works for me right now. She does a piece in like a week, and that's kind of like insane. This it looks a fully fleshed out, just A to Z, start to finish, and it looks like phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
In like a week. But she also draws like 10 hours a day every day for the past like 15 years.
Oh my gosh. That's super intense. Wow. Yeah.
Right.
Very insightful.
Yeah. I guess getting a little more into like kind of like your journey and stuff like that. I guess like what were some of the kind of resources you were looking at, or like how did you improve your art?
So fast
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah.
Thank you. For me, it's more like I had to specifically focus about what I was not doing well versus what I was doing well. Personally, if, for example, I wanted to make, my dream has always been to make complete uh, anime illustrations with the entire background, with the entire environment. It has to have a sense of space, sense of like dimension to it, right? Uh, and back then, I didn't know how to draw backgrounds. Backgrounds has always been hard for me when I started out, and this is true for like I'd say like 99% of artists. People don't um really like, especially like the younger people, especially dislike drawing backgrounds. And I would say like I said like 20 years ago, there were like environment artists. There were a lot of like people who are very passionate about drawing environments, and just structures, spaces. Now, people are very heavily invested in drawing, these anime characters, or even if you're drawing like characters in general. I've seen like a lot more. That is also part of the reason why being a character concept artist is 10 times more demanding than being an environment concept artist, because you have like 10 times more people wanting to do that kind of work, right? Um, but yeah, if I didn't know how to draw backgrounds, I had to put myself through that, and I have to focus on drawing the backgrounds. And if that doesn't look good, I just keep on doing it over and over again. When I was drawing characters, fabric was also one of the hardest parts for me to express. And it took me a very long time. Even when I was doing commercial work, I didn't think I was drawing fabric that well compared to like some of the people that I know that are insane at fabric drawing. And that is also something that I have to keep in mind every time I work on something. It's that every time I work on a new piece, is there an opportunity for me to practice the things that I'm not good at, and then make sure that it's better than the last time I drew it. So keeping that mentality is a very healthy thing, especially if you're pursuing art professionally. You have to be focusing on what you're lacking, because if you can't draw environments, that is a very big minus in terms of like how the employers or like the work commissioners actually see you as an artist, right? I mean, this also like is very evident when I was going through like hundreds of portfolios when I was like recruiting for my artist. If someone does characters really well, but can't do environments, they are much less likely to be interviewed versus someone that can do like a 7 out of 10 character drawing and like a 7 out of 10 like environment drawing versus someone that's like 10 out of 10 character and then like a 2 out of 10 environment. I would prefer to work with a 7-7 person, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very insightful. Thank you. So it's always good to hear like from artists who are in the industry, like resources, how they improved, and also like what they're looking at and thinking about when they're making the
Yeah.
art. So thank you very much. I want to make sure we have enough time for, oh, sorry. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. I want to make sure we have enough time for a Q&A from our lovely audience. If anyone has any questions, I think our microphone died, so you can just shout it and I will do my best to we will do our best to relay it. So does anyone have any questions? You have a question? What's your question?
Sure. What kind of like software do you usually use? And actually, wait, I'll let you answer that first. Like, what's the hardware that you're using?
I'm still using my iPad, and I have always been drawing on Procreate on iPad for the most part. I don't see any other people do this, and it's a very limiting, especially when it comes to layer count. When sometimes when you work on a project and you need like 200 layers at 4K quality, that's not going to happen on the iPad. That is, even if I have the not the latest model, but the highest amount of RAM, which is the determining factor for how many layers can Procreate handle before it crashes, and it's like 100 at 4K. That is the limit, right? And there's if I reach that kind of limit, then the iPad slows down. I have to merge stuff, and I have to get rid of a lot of layering quality of life things to make it work. Versus, I know that a lot of at least like the people I work with, they all use Clip Studio Paint. Uh, People have been saying not to use Photoshop because it's also like super limiting in terms of like how the tools work, and like the UI is like super beginner unfriendly. So drawing with Photoshop has always been kind of like the worst. And then I see some people draw with Procreate, and they've always been drawing in this like painterly kind of style. They just slap on like layers of paint, which is very intuitive, but also like super limiting. The middle ground to that is Clip Studio Paint. So don't take it from me because I have been limiting myself. And I'm very lazy. I'm very stubborn to change it. That's kind of the thing. I actually I came to China, to Shanghai, 3 weeks ago, and I bought a screen tablet to try to use Clip Studio Paint. I have it with me right now.
Oh my
So
God.
here.
Whoa.
And I have max like 30 minutes on this thing, and I've bought it for like a month, and I'm still doing this. I'm still doing this iPad that I have had since 2021. Right.
Whoa. That's awesome. Yeah. I think it's extremely impressive to be able to use uh also, has our screen been sharing at all this whole time or no? Sorry, this is unrelated.
The screen, like your screen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
can you like see the screen?
Yeah. I've been
Okay,
I've
good.
been
Okay,
seeing
good.
the
I just wanted to
slides.
make sure. Our Zoom has been kind of crazy, so we were just making sure. Thank you. But yeah, I think how many layers do you typically use, if you don't mind me asking?
The maximum amount of layers every single time.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Which is
Wow.
like if I'm drawing at 4K, it's 115 or something.
Nice. Nice. Wow, that's extremely impressive. Oh my gosh. Does anyone have any other questions? Anything else? Can also drop it in the chat or something, but that is okay. If not, because we
I have another
you
one.
have another question. Oh my gosh.
Okay, just adding on to like hardware, what kind of software or like this is also in multiple parts? Like what do you use to communicate? Like do you have a Discord server? Do you use like Zoom? Like how do you physically communicate, especially as you're in Vietnam? And then the second part of that is like social media.
Yeah.
Which,
Uh,
yeah, sorry, I'll
yeah.
let you go.
No. You can go ahead and finish your question. I don't mind.
So, how do you like? Do you look for a broader audience? How does that differ like in Asia? Like what social medias do your clients post on? Do you post on? And I guess where do you get traction?
So back when I started out, I was solely posting my drawings on Twitter and Pixiv. That was like the only two platforms that I would use. I think people have been moving past Twitter nowadays because the US politics, which is very, that's not cool, especially if you're kind of like where you're sharing your art on is being influenced by factors that are out of your control, right? Back then, people were looking at Twitter a lot. Now, not so much anymore. So Pixiv and Instagram, and I think that there's a new platform called Blue Sky or whatever that people have been posting on. Those also work, but also like at this point, it's a lot harder for you to be popular on social media versus back then when there was like Twitter and it was like the only thing people used. Now it's like there are three different platforms that different people use, and it's a lot lower engagement.
Mm.
Uh, the other question was, oh, I was using Discord, and I have been using Discord primarily when I talk to my client and my employees. So Discord has always been it's a growing trend where companies are starting to use Discord or use Discord as a replacement to whatever what is it, Microsoft Teams, which had like which is literally Discord, but it's not Discord, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, but there has been a trend where people are moving onto Discord for professional communications, which I think is not ideal because at the end of the day, the Discord is not a trustworthy company, in my opinion. But Discord is great. Like communication has been like seamless for the most part, and you have uh, you have a very kind of like young work environment if you use Discord because you have like a lot of like functionalities like you roll like in a voice call and you can like play a soundboard. It's a clapping sound. I use that a lot. And that is like it makes people like more relaxed and
Yeah.
like they crack people up more. And that is I think ideal in like a professional setting, especially when I'm doing online work. People are not interested, people are not like enthusiastic about like meetings whatsoever. If you have like a physical like offline meeting, people I can see their faces. Now I can't, so there has to be some form of alternative to that, which is ideal, right?
Oh, makes sense. The all trying to figure out where to post on social media is always a big challenge. So it's
It is, it
rough out
is.
there.
Unbearable.
Unbearable. Yeah. Um, I had a question. Now I forgot what it was. Do you have any more questions?
I'm trying to recharge.
Does anyone have? Oh, yes. Nora has a question.
Does
The
not
mic
take
is
over.
low-key a little bit broken, but we can try.
I'll talk loudly. Can you hear me?
If not, we can
I
just.
can barely hear you.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to? Oh,
Okay, it's kind of working.
okay. It might stop, but it's okay. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. You had mentioned that you hadn't like finished a full piece in a while, and I was wondering with like running your studio, do you find that you still have a fair amount of time to pursue like your own artwork in your free time? Are you mostly sketching, or are you also able to like experiment with stuff?
Um, for the most part, no, and it's because of two reasons. The first one is that I am very demotivated. I do not have the motivation to draw at all, especially when drawing is the work that you do. It's not a hobby anymore, it's work. Every time I pick up the pen, I dread it. Like it makes me feel like shit. But also at the same time, at the same time, I try to think that if I'm not drawing, I'd rather be try to work on different aspects of my career, which is also like networking. I like going around places, talking to different clients, different studios, thinking about games. I've been looking at how to find game developers for my game, for example, and that has been also like very exciting. But for the most part, like drawing. Sometimes I do still sketch for fun, and that is like solely for fun. If I pick up the pen, it's like there is nothing better for me to do.
Yeah.
Which is a bad thing because I've mentioned the person I work with at least like equally in the studio. She has been drawing nonstop 10 hours per day for the past like 15 years, and she's like what, like 35. So yeah, so there's that. There are people like that, and there's me. There's I kind of like being lazy for me is like an excuse. It's more like it's a mental problem that it's work and I don't want to think about work when I've been thinking about work every single day and I dread it. Right. So
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like sorry, were you finished? Did you have any additional
I
questions?
guess it was kind of a follow-up question to that, which was like, yeah, do you find yourself like inspired by any media recently of like TV shows or like movies that are like animated or like video games where you're like, oh wow, this really makes me want to draw?
mm, I would say Arcane.
Arcane mentions. Everyone's head just popped up. Yeah.
Arcane is great. The art quality is great. The kind of like everything about it, I loved it. Um, it really wanted to make me draw, but also at the same time, it couldn't. So
Yeah.
if that can't make me draw, then you'd probably need like Arcane 3 to make me want to draw.
They are making more shows, so you
Yeah.
have that to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. This is true. This is true. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's oh sorry, go ahead if you could.
no, as in like I hated League of Legends. I played League of Legends for 8 years of my life, and that game is the worst game I've ever played. That has ruined my life. And I loved Arcane, right? So
Yeah.
that goes to show how good of a job Riot Games have has done with the
Yeah.
show, and people who are completely oblivious to the League like universe in general love the show, and I think it's a
Yeah.
great move. I want to make something like that, but at the same time, I can't because I am broke. Riot Games is filthy rich, right?
Yeah.
They can't afford it.
One day.
One day. One day.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? Oh, got one over there. Okay. If running the mic over right now, but if it doesn't work, I'll just repeat the question. Hi.
Hello.
Do you have any small studios or like art related businesses that you've had experience in or like your friends like trying to look for people that you recommend for experience or like portfolio building?
Wait, can you say that one more time? I can't really hear you very well.
Oh yeah.
Are there any small studios or art related businesses that you recommend for experience building?
Did you hear it that time?
No.
That's okay. Are there any studios or smaller studios that you recommend for experience and art improvement? Is that your question? Yes.
I guess like, are you aware of other opportunities?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
That is so fair.
Art studios in general, they fall into two categories. The first one being professional art studios for game companies, which are like in-house studios, and they are strictly professional. There's no, they're basically they don't take any interns. They're established artists, and it's tough. It's like working at Riot Games, right? You have to have like X years of experience. Your portfolio has to look like this. You have to have like a very professional work ethic, that satisfy, this excruciating kind of like work culture.
Yeah.
The second type of studio, I would say, is the um I'm not sure how to call it, but it's more like manual labor where you're just drawing stuff that people don't want to draw that are easy to draw. So, for example, animation studios have in between frames. Basically, you just have to draw the same lines over and over again to make it move. People don't want to do that, but they have to do it for a living. That pays like shit.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so art is very polarizing, I would say. It's not like you can go into like art expecting that you have like the same experience as like a CS graduate where you can intern at a big company and then move your way up the ladder. You either go up the ladder on your own with art before people even realize it, and then you just start at the top. Or if you're at the bottom of the ladder, you do that kind of work, the animation work, which is sad, but that is the reality of it. And this is, I would say, this is even easier. This is even more manageable than being a big music producer nowadays. I think be like producing music in general is comes more to down to like luck and just making sure that you have the exposure, you market yourself smart enough. Art is like if you're good, then you're good, and you're gonna have to work. Music is like if you're good, but people don't know you, you kind of don't have any work. So it's sad, but that is the reality that we are really living in. So
Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We appreciate the honesty. Makes it easier. I guess it's about 9:25, so does anyone have any last questions?
Can
There?
I?
Yes. Go
I'm
for
gonna
it.
ask about the game you have planned. Of course, you probably have stuff you want to keep under wraps, but like, what is the direction you're going in, or what are you excited to incorporate, like gameplay wise, story wise, design wise?
in like the next game or
The one that you were planning for later this year.
oh, I have been primarily thinking about the core gameplay mechanics because I think that is like the most important like thing to think of when you are making a video game. I'm sure people have different opinions, but I have not been thinking about the world setting, the characters as much as I've just been thinking about the game mechanics. I can't say it right now because I still haven't. I'm not in the process of making it yet, so I can't say about. I can talk about it because what if someone does it before me? Then that fuck up my plans.
That's very fair.
That makes
I can
sense.
probably share at a later date when we have like a demo that is very readily prepared.
Yes.
I have a question.
Feel free to. Oh yes, we have a question. Hillary, just go ahead and shout. I'll just repeat it. If you want to. Or you can whisper it in my ear. Wait, is your voice okay? Okay.
Wait, I have to remember how I worded it in my head.
Okay.
Back when you were first beginning to go into the direction of anime artwork and improve the way that you had now, are there any resources or specific practices or studies that you recommend?
Yes. So back when you were first kind of like getting started in the direction of anime art, were there any like specific resources or like videos or like anything you like looked at, references, mentorships, things like that?
Studies, techniques.
Yeah.
Like, did you work out
Um,
art muscles?
yeah, for sure. When you're starting out, I would say the most important thing is that you need to make sure that your lines are good. I think that's like very important that you have flexible lines. You can move your pen however you want it to, and you have to have a certain type of smoothness and curviness to your lines. It's like penmanship. That's how I like to call it. Um, and I do practice that a little bit. because like everyone starts out holding their pen very stiffly, right? And then their lines are uncomfortable. That would be like the very, very first thing before you even draw stuff. But then I'd say practice anatomy. Not like, there's a specific kind of like book that I remember back when I started. It was like drawing anatomy, and it was just like basically explaining the bones, explaining the muscles. I don't think none of that is necessary for you to draw like a human body. I guess like just try to draw like a complete human body. Um, you get bonus points if you do it with clothes, because you kind of like have to see the dynamics of the body underneath the layer of clothes, which is also a challenge in itself. But also try to draw it from a different angle, from multiple different angles, top down, bottom view, side view. Practice your shapes, your forms. Make sure that your sense of 3D space is there, because the 3D to 2D translation is not super obvious, and it comes with a lot of practice. And even after that, you have to draw with colors. So if you're drawing, you're starting to color, starting to learn how to paint, I'd say first just practice the color combinations, to kind of like look at how other people draw, they tone their skins, their hairs, their clothes, um, and then try to at first replicate it. And if you can't replicate it, it's fine to copy it, but then try to move on with your own thoughts about how things work. And then eventually you would probably realize a couple of rules about like just color filling and like how colors work together, right? Um, that's also a good practice. I can go on like with like a million different exercises, but at
Yeah.
this end of the day, it's more like um, if you realize that you can't color, for example, focus on coloring until you can do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For resources, I'd say just look up how people draw online, and if they have time lapses, that's perfect. You can see how their process works. If that process isn't like obvious, or like it's super replicable by you, then you can use a different process. But try to look at a drawing and try to, for example, draw more or less the same thing with a different vibe, or a different thing with the same vibe. That's that has always been repeatedly the best practice when it comes to learning, right? Just yeah.
That
Do
makes
you have any time lapses?
I have a lot of them actually. I have from
Wanna
back.
share them
oh my
with?
God. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I can actually share the time lapse for the piece that I posted earlier in the chat. Uh,
While you're doing that, it is 9:30.
Oh.
So if anyone needs to get going, you can. But we're gonna stick around a few minutes to watch this.
I actually need to. Hmm. Okay, I actually don't have it on me right now because I think
That is
I
so
We can
deleted.
share later.
Yeah, if you're okay with us bothering you for it another time.
Oh, that's fine. Actually, wait, hold on. Yeah, I do have it. I have two videos. Uh, okay, I have a Google Drive link.
Amazing.
Oh, this is way too long. It's like an hour. Holy shit. Yeah, I can post it in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We'll watch like a little bit right now, and then we'll probably share the rest of it
The Discord.
with the Discord, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Insider knowledge.
Yay. Amazing. Shouldn't think of anything else. I'll wait till you're done so that I'm not yapping while you're one thing at a time.
There you go.
Awesome. Okay. I'm gonna Okay.
I think we're still screen sharing, right?
Are we? Oh, I think I paused it.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, you're good. Wait. Uh-oh.
God, why are we like struggling?
Why am I fighting for my life right now? Oh my God. So sorry. Oh, wait, that was what the
Where's
thing I
the,
needed.
like,
Where did it
bar?
go? Where is he? Okay, there you are. Sorry.
Okay, I guess yeah.
Okay.
Share.
Yeah. Share screen. Should not be fighting for my life this hard, but that's okay. There we go.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh wow, it is like an
Oh,
hour.
that's not like an hour.
On 2x speed.
2x speed.
Oh, you should skip the first part because that's probably like making the drafts for the very first one.
Whoa.
Bro, this is like a fifth in. What do you mean?
I'm sorry. Wait, yeah. Okay. Okay. Wow. Do you have like particular brushes that you like using?
Just the default brushes in Procreate. I think it's like a hard round brush that I do use. Sometimes I use the hard like rectangular brush or square brush or whatever.
Wow.
Mostly just the default like hard brushes.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa.
The photo bashing.
Photo
that
bashing.
goes.
Yes. That's so cool. Wow.
This is like very long, so you probably need to
Yeah.
watch it on like 10 times like 10x
He
speed.
said draw the rest of the owl. Like, nice,
Yeah.
a little more.
Yeah.
Like how
How?
there's literally 2 minutes more.
What?
God.
Wow. So now we're getting the really nitty-gritty little details.
Yeah, this is the pain, right? You're
Yeah.
drawing every single thing.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's definitely not fun for the first like 1/3 of it, and then
Yeah.
it's not fun.
Wow. I love how just like you just keep building on like layers and layers and like going back and refining all these little things. That's so interesting. Yeah. We'll
It's kinda-
definitely share the full video
Yeah. Bro,
with our
that's gonna be my Friday night movie.
yes, Friday night getting
Please don't
We'll-
make it a Friday night
we'll
movie.
play it in the background with super intense music at our next Digipaint meeting.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, that is the end of the meeting and then some.
yes, and then some. But thank you. We wanted to thank you so much for coming, for taking time out of your morning, to come talk to us. I guess any last thoughts from you? Anything you want to promote?
Probably it's fine to end it for now, but it's been great. It's been really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
both for spending the time to make the slides. I think.
Oh yes, of course. It was great. I just
Lot
got
of
to look
work.
at art for like we just got to look at art
Exactly.
for an extended amount of time, which was great. So thank you so much for
Mhm.
coming.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Good night. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good
Bye bye.
night.